Sometimes trust issues come from our past, where we have been hurt in the past, and now it's difficult for us to trust not only our partner, but society as a whole. And sometimes they come from our partner making it really difficult for us to trust them through these behaviors that I'm going to discuss with you. If they show any of these behaviors, that doesn't necessarily mean the relationship has to end. However, these behaviors have to be addressed for the relationship to feel secure and trust to be established. Now, there are 4 or 5, I keep adding the C's. This is why I say 4 or 5, because there are these like 4 basics, but as I talk, there's always more C's that we can add to this list. So there are a few C's of trust that create trust in the relationship. And the first one is congruency. This means that what I say, I do. So if I say I'm going to meet you on Friday at 2 p.m. at this specific place, I am there. If I'm not there, I have to communicate with you that somehow the plans have changed. If I don't do that, you will not trust me. Maybe the first time you will not be very triggered unless you have a lot of triggers from the past, and that's how you can know if this is happening for the first time and you have this huge emotional reaction that is disproportional to the situation. So I usually say a reaction that is past 3 out of 10. That means something in the past has happened to trigger this reaction, right? And this experience with your partner or this person is now just highlighting those triggers. And yes, it might be your triggers, but it still has to be communicated. You can still ask the person, hey, we've agreed to this time. It's important for me that we stick to these times. Why were you late? Why didn't you communicate? And you can first just hear what the other person has to say before jumping to conclusions. However, if over time your partner is showing up that they say one thing, but they do something different, or they're not meeting their word, they tell you they're going to meet you somewhere, they don't show up. They make arrangements with you, maybe financial arrangements. Maybe they tell you that they're going to give you money, or that they're going to get a job, or that you're going to go on holiday, and that doesn't happen. When their word and their actions don't align, it will create doubt in your mind, doubt in anybody's mind, because this is how we are as human beings. This is how psychology works. We need congruency. I need to know that what I hear from your lips is going to happen. You need to be able to trust somebody's word. That's all we can do, is trust somebody's word. And if they don't show up in those ways, that means it is breaking our trust. I cannot trust that you will meet me at the coffee shop on Friday at 2 p.m. because through our history, you have proved to me that you struggle to keep time, that you may be prioritizing other things in your life, or perhaps that you have social anxiety and you struggle to leave your house. Okay, so there might be a reason why this person is showing up in these ways. So we also have to figure out like what is happening there. Why is it difficult for you to meet these commitments? And of course, it's always up to you to decide what you're willing to live with and what is not acceptable in your reality. The next C is consistency. So as human beings, we thrive on predictability. We want to know that this person that I'm trusting is going to show up in the same way. So if your partner is happy the one moment and then erratic and volatile the next moment, just to be happy 5 minutes later, you will not trust them to be consistent. So that is emotional consistency. The next type of consistency is just showing up in the same ways for most of the time. So most of the time when they meet their word, they are consistent. Most of the time they are consistent in wanting affection from you, or when you need affection, you will get that affection. They are consistent in how they communicate in the relationship. So when they message you, they are consistent more or less. They message you maybe twice a day, maybe 3 times a day, maybe a few times a week, but they are consistent. They the consistency, when consistency is broken, and say you are in touch with a person and they're communicating with you a lot for a few days or weeks, and then all of a sudden they're just missing in action without saying a word, that is a break in consistency, and that is also breaking our trust. So we need to have some kind of consistency to create an image in our mind and for our subconscious to then feel like, okay, I can predict this person's behavior. I know how they're going to react to me when I bring up a topic with them. I know how they're going to react when I set a boundary or I speak about my emotions or when I need connection. So we need that consistency. This person is going to show up more or less in these ways, and if they don't, they're going to communicate why they are not showing up, why they are inconsistent. The other one is clarity. People who are trustworthy, and it's easy to trust them, they give you clarity. They explain to you, sorry, I'm not going to be able to reply to your messages for the next day because I'm extremely busy at work. I cannot be on my phone. Or later on, if they were not able to answer the phone, they will tell you, sorry, it was nothing to do with you. It was something that was happening in my life. And they will give you clarity on why they act a specific way, how they feel about you, where the relationship is going. If a person does not give you clarity about how they feel about you, and of course this is at an inappropriate time of the relationship. This isn't about like we meet for 3 dates and all of a sudden we have to be clear on whether we're spending the rest of our lives together or not. This is of course appropriate at the appropriate stages of the relationship. However, after 3 dates, a person can tell you like, hey, this is really nice. It's really nice meeting. It would be really nice to keep on seeing each other. And then they show up by being congruent, by making plans with you, by connecting with you over text or over phone call. And so that you feel like, okay, this person is saying this, that they really enjoy our time together, and they're showing up in those ways. I don't have to question. I am not guessing or going onto YouTube or phoning my tarot reader and trying to psychically guess what they are thinking. Can you tell some girl had really big trust issues over here? So you're not alone. They give you clarity. That clarity puts your mind at ease. And some people think the clarity takes all the mystique out of the relationship. And this is the furthest away from the truth. When you have safety and clarity in the relationship, when a person tells you how they feel, then you can also decide, do I want to be in this relationship? How do I feel about this person? Do I want this connection? And when there is this safety and both of you want to be in their connection, then a deeper exploration can happen. Vulnerability can happen. Another C is communication. The communication has to be through all of these. You can almost hear that there is communication as an undertone for all of these C's. So we are communicating all the time. Okay, I was a bit agitated there. Sorry, this is how I felt. Taking accountability for a person's actions. Checking up on you. How are you doing after we've had this spat? Are you okay? Communicating. Okay? Communicating in ways that are congruent, clear, concise or consistent. And there's another one, connection. When there is a good connection between two people, there is trust. Where there are periods of connection and then there's a break of connection and there's that inconsistency, there will also be doubts. And that usually triggers our wounds of abandonment and betrayal. Susan Anderson, in her book, Taming the Outer Child, describes this pattern as abandoholism. It is an addictive pattern of being kind of feeling like you're being picked up and connected and then being completely dropped. And this is why it's sometimes really challenging for people to leave these type of relationships, because it forms a neurochemistry in our body where we start to crave that person. So when you have a lot of this inconsistency and ups and downs in connection, that will also cause you to doubt your partner. So I think those are all the C's that I want to share with you today. I kind of just keep adding them as I go along. But these are the bases that can help you to get more clarity on whether the trust issues that you're experiencing are coming from you and your past wounding, or are they coming from your partner? Because that can be the most crazy making question that might be plaguing your mind. And if you were not brought up in an environment that was safe and trustworthy, like a lot of fearful avoidant attachment styles hadn't, then this question might be plaguing your mind, and you might be trying to trust people who are making it difficult for you to trust, and you might be losing your mind or being in arguments, and you think, you know what, I have all the trust issues, it is my fault, taking all the responsibility and not holding other people accountable. And a very big part of being in a relationship and being securely attached is also holding other people accountable. If you tell me that you're going to show up somewhere at this time, you show up at this time. Otherwise, you communicate differently. If you are inconsistent, 100%, you have the right to go to the person and saying like, hey, I see this inconsistency in how we are communicating. I see this inconsistency in how you're showing up in your emotions. What is going on there? Let's talk about it. Because I would really feel a lot safer and calmer, and I prefer to have consistent communication, consistent emotional reactions, consistent connection. So let's hash it out. Is it something that you're going through temporarily? Maybe you're on a huge work project that is going to last for the next 3 months, and this is creating erratic behavior. Maybe there is a death in the family. Maybe there is an emotional, mental issue that you're going through that is causing this. What is it? And once you communicate about that, once you find that out, then you can decide, okay, do I want to be in this relationship? And of course, at any point, you can decide what are your standards. And this has to be known. You need to know your standards. What are you willing to tolerate in a relationship? What are you not willing to tolerate in a relationship? And this doesn't come from a place of being high maintenance. This comes from a place of self-care and self-knowledge and self-understanding. Knowing that if this XYZ happens, this is how it's going to affect me. Okay? It's going to affect my mental health. It's going to affect my physical health. What can I tolerate? What can I not tolerate? What behaviors that another person does are completely intolerable to me. I know that if my partner is showing up inconsistently, they message me the whole day and then they go AWOL for a week, I can't handle that, right? That is going to make me show up as this like wild, crazy woman that is just raging, right? And I don't want to show up like that. I don't want to push myself to that point. That is going to affect my mental health, my physical health. And therefore, I'm going to set this boundary and this standard that I do not tolerate that in my life. And I communicate that, not in an aggressive way or in an angry way, but simply just telling somebody like, hey, you know what? I know that I cannot handle inconsistency in relationships. I need somebody to contact me in the morning and in the evening throughout the week, and I need that consistency in my life. And I communicate that and I leave it with the other person. How do you feel about that? Are you open to it? Are you not open to it? This is how you will find your compatibility. Is this person for me? Is this relationship for me? Of course, this is the start of the relationship. When you are in a long-term relationship, these things have to be teased out. And usually if you are in a long-term relationship, it's extremely important that both parties are not spiteful and trying to teach the other person a lesson or trying to play some power game and show who is right, who is wrong. And both parties need to be considerate of each other's wounds and of each other's needs. A relationship is about giving and cooperating. So even if I know that this issue is not mine, so say for example, you do have trust issues, you need to pick a partner who is going to be so tender, loving, and caring for you, that is going to be aware of that trust wound, that is going to help you to trust them. Of course, you will have to take responsibility for healing those trust wounds so that you are not causing hurt to your partner by constantly being suspicious and questioning them. But it is a two-way street. Both of you need to do the work, just like you would do the work for your partner when you know that they are diabetic or they have a broken leg, or, when they're diabetic, you will not cook food for them that is full of sugar. When they have a broken leg, when you go to a restaurant, you're going to see, does this restaurant have a easy access? Okay, so those are the considerations that we take for people that are going through a physical injury. And this is exactly what we have to do for people who are going through emotional injuries. And sometimes we also have to know when to let go. I need to know what is that point where I actually cannot show up for this person. So, right, I cannot tolerate when another person has trust wounds, right? Maybe that's freaked me out. Maybe I have been suspected my whole life and doubted and accused my whole life. And now it's difficult for me to be with a partner with trust wounds. I'm not a good space to heal that for them, right? So we need to know who we are, what we bring to the table, and be very vulnerable and open and honest about it, not in a way that discloses your whole past necessarily on the first date, but in a way that I am speaking up about my needs. If I see something is not happening in the relationship that I need to happen, I am going to address that. And by doing that, you are going to stop betraying yourself. Because if you are in situations where you are constantly prioritizing your partner, right? What do I have to do for them not to leave me? Who do I have to be for them to like me? If you are doing that, you are betraying yourself. People pleasing is betraying yourself. And then you will not be able to trust anybody if you keep betraying yourself. So stay true to yourself, show up for your needs in kind, compassionate ways. Ask for these needs to be met in kind, compassionate ways, in ways that your partner can hear you. And good luck. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you have figured out, whether it was your trust issues that are causing trouble in your relationship, or is it your partner that is doing any of these. Usually, it's somewhere in the middle where we both have the trust issues and at the same time our partner is not really helping us heal. So I hope this is going to give you clarity and the path forward to heal these trust wounds and have love, safety, and freedom in your relationship. Till I see you in the next one. Big love.